You could be drinking enough water every day, eating what you think is healthy, and still be constipated. The reason is not what most people expect. Most seniors assume constipation is just about water and fiber from cooked food. But here's what nobody is telling you. Some of the most powerful natural solutions for constipation are not in a pharmacy or a supplement bottle. They are sitting right now in your grocery store, your local market, and even your street corner. Inside, simple nuts most people eat as snacks without realizing what they can do for the digestive system. In this video, you're going to discover 4 nuts high in fiber that help with constipation in seniors, and also 2 nuts to avoid that cause constipation in seniors. And you'll be shocked how many people over 60 eat these daily, thinking they're healthy. I'm saving the most powerful one for last. So, make sure you watch all the way through. Take a second to subscribe if you haven't already. Then, let's jump right in. Number 1, almonds. When it comes to constipation in adults, almonds are one of the nuts that will always top my recommendation list for adults, especially those who are over 60 years of age. We all know that almonds are small nuts, yet they are powerful when it comes to digestive health. They are not only rich in fiber, they also contain healthy fats that support smooth digestion and gut comfort. Consuming a small handful daily is enough to make a difference. The first reason almonds work so well for constipation comes down to their fiber content. A small handful delivers about 4 grams of dietary fiber, and that fiber comes in 2 forms that support digestion in different ways. One part adds bulk to stool, giving the intestines enough volume to pass through your bowels. The other part absorbs water and softens that stool, so it passes with less effort. As the body ages, the muscles that push waste through the intestines are not as active as they used to be, and stool tends to stay longer in the colon. When that happens, more water is absorbed out of it, leaving it dry and difficult to pass. Almonds address both sides of that problem at the same time by increasing stool size and improving its texture, which helps restore a more natural passage. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2022 examined how almonds affect digestion and found that regular intake increased stool output and improved gut transit time, meaning food moved more smoothly through the system. The second reason almonds stand out is their magnesium content. Magnesium plays a direct role in how the muscles of the digestive tract contract and relax. When magnesium levels are adequate, the intestinal muscles are better able to coordinate their movement and push stool forward consistently. Some seniors experience constipation not just because of dry stool, but because the gut has lost some of its muscular rhythm. Magnesium helps restore that muscle strength by supporting the very muscles responsible for moving waste through the colon. Research published in Magnesium Research in 2017 linked higher magnesium intake with improved bowel regularity, and almonds provide a natural food-based source of this mineral that works steadily over time. What stands out with almonds is how balanced their effect is. They do not force the body into action. They support the natural process through both stool structure and muscular function. For seniors who have been dealing with constipation for years, this matters because the body does not respond well to being constantly pushed by stimulants or harsh laxatives. Over time, those approaches can make the gut even less responsive. Almonds take the opposite approach. They give the body what it needs to work on its own, and that is what creates lasting relief rather than temporary results. For seniors, this kind of support is often more valuable than quick fixes because it leads to lasting comfort and a more predictable routine. Start your morning by stirring a tablespoon of almond butter into warm oatmeal cooked with low-fat milk. Add sliced banana, a pinch of cinnamon, and a teaspoon of ground flax seed for a fiber-rich CH breakfast that gives your digestive system a strong foundation from the very first meal of the day. The magnesium in the almonds begins supporting your intestinal muscles right away, while the fiber starts building stool bulk through the morning. For lunch, toss a small handful of raw almonds over a salad of mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, shredded carrots, and olive oil dressing. Pair with a slice of whole grain bread and a glass of water for a light, balanced meal that keeps your gut active and your stools soft through the afternoon. Staying hydrated alongside the almonds is important because the fiber works best when there is enough fluid available in the digestive tract. End your day with a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt topped with a handful of sliced almonds and a drizzle of honey. The combination of fiber and magnesium from the almonds alongside the probiotics in the yogurt gives your digestive system layered overnight support, encouraging both stool softness and intestinal movement while you rest. Almonds work through fiber and magnesium, but the next nut works through a completely different pathway, one that targets the root cause of sluggish digestion from the inside out. Number 2, walnuts. When it comes to easing constipation in seniors, walnuts work in a slightly different way from other nuts, and that difference is what makes them worth paying attention to. The benefit is not just about fiber content. The first thing that makes walnuts stand out is their omega-3 fatty acid content. These healthy fats support the lining of the gut directly. When the gut lining is healthy and well-nourished, waste moves through with less resistance and irritation. Low inflammation in the digestive tract is one of the hidden reasons bowel movement slows down in older adults. It creates an environment where the intestines cannot function smoothly. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce that inflammation, which allows the intestines to work with less interference. Nutrition research continues to show that walnuts are packed with these healthy fats along with antioxidants that protect digestive tissues, creating a calmer gut environment where movement can happen more naturally. The second benefit comes from how walnuts influence the gut microbiome. When walnuts are eaten consistently, they encourage the growth of beneficial gut bacteria that support digestion. A study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry in 2017 found that adding walnuts to the diet changed the composition of gut microbes in a way that supports overall digestive health. A study published in the International Journal of Biological Macroalcohols in 2024 examined walnut-derived fiber and found that it helped relieve constipation by improving intestinal movement and increasing stool moisture. It also showed that walnut fiber interacted with specific gut bacteria and pathways linked to movement in the intestines. What this means is that walnuts do not just sit in the gut adding bulk. They actively signal the digestive system to move. What makes walnuts especially helpful for seniors is how they improve gut activity without creating urgency or discomfort. Many older adults struggle with irregular bowel movement, not just because of low fiber, but because the gut has lost some of its natural rhythm over the years. Walnuts help restore that rhythm by working through two distinct pathways, reducing the inflammation that slows the gut down and feeding the bacteria that signal it to move. A study published in the Journal of the American Nutrition Association in 2025 looked at daily walnut consumption and found improvements in gastrointestinal symptoms, including patterns linked to constipation. This kind of steady improvement is what makes walnuts practical for long-term use, and it is why they deserve a regular place in the diet of any senior dealing with sluggish digestion. Start your morning by adding a small handful of chopped walnuts to plain oatmeal or whole grain porridge. Stir in a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Top with fresh blueberries and serve with a glass of warm water. This breakfast combines the gut lining support of walnuts with additional fiber and hydration to get your digestive system moving early in the day. The omega-3s from the walnuts begin reducing gut inflammation, while the fiber from the oats support stool bulk at the same time. For lunch, scatter walnuts over a salad of spinach, sliced pears, red onion, cucumber, and a light lemon vinaigrette. The pairing of walnuts with fiber-rich cheddar pears creates a midday meal that supports both stool moisture and gut bacteria at the same time, giving your digestive system consistent input through the middle of the day. End your day by mixing a small handful of walnuts into warm brown rice with steamed broccoli, sweet potatoes, and grilled chicken seasoned with garlic and olive oil. This dinner gives your gut a steady supply of omega-3s and beneficial microbiome-supporting compounds overnight, while your body rests and repairs so that by morning the conditions for a smooth bowel movement are already in place. Walnuts work through inflammation reduction and gut bacteria. But the next nut targets something neither almonds nor walnuts address, and it has everything to do with what happens inside the colon itself. Number 3, pecans. Pecans, yes, you heard that right. Pecans influence movement in the gut in a steady and responsive way. And the two reasons they do this are distinct from everything we have covered so far. The first benefit of pecans comes from how they support bile production. Bile is a digestive fluid produced by the liver and released into the intestines. It plays a role in breaking down fats and keeping the contents of the digestive tract moving smoothly. When bile flows well, it helps maintain a softer consistency and waste as it travels through the intestines, which reduces the chances of stool becoming dry and difficult to pass. Pecans contain compounds that support the release of bile, which means they contribute to keeping stool moist and moving from early in the digestive process. Over time, this quiet support helps create a digestive process that feels less strained and more consistent. The second benefit comes from the polyphenols and pecans. These are plant compounds that interact with gut bacteria in a way that improves how the digestive system functions. A review published in Nutrients in 2025 explained that pecans contain a wide range of bioactive compounds, including polyphenols that influence gut health and overall digestion. When polyphenols reach the colon, they interact with the gut environment in a way that encourages more coordinated contractions. The colon responds to what it receives. And when the contents are balanced in texture and composition through the influence of these compounds, it reacts with more effective movement. This kind of response builds naturally as the body becomes familiar with consistent pecan intake. Research has also shown that pecans provide close to 3 grams of fiber per serving, and that fiber supports regular bowel movement without acting harshly on the system. Another thing that deserves attention is how pecans contribute to satiety and meal rhythm. Seniors who struggle with constipation sometimes eat irregularly or skip meals, which slows down the digestive process. Pecans help create a sense of fullness that encourages more consistent eating patterns. When meals become regular, the digestive system begins to follow a pattern, and that pattern often leads to more predictable bowel movement. Start your morning by sprinkling a small handful of chopped pecans over plain Greek yogurt with sliced banana, a drizzle of honey, and a teaspoon of chia seeds. The pecans support bile flow from early in the morning, while the yogurt adds beneficial bacteria, giving your digestive system 2 layers of digestive support before the day fully begins. The chia seeds contribute additional fiber that works with the pecans to keep stool texture consistent through the morning. For lunch, toss pecans into a warm grain bowl with quinoa, roasted sweet potatoes, steamed kale, diced red bell peppers, and a light lemon and olive oil dressing. This combination pairs the biloop-supporting compounds and polyphenols in pecans with high-fiber vegetables for a midday meal that keeps the colon active and waste moving smoothly. End your day by adding a small handful of pecans to a bowl of warm oatmeal with stewed prunes, a pinch of nutmeg, and a drizzle of honey. The polyphenols from the pecans work alongside the natural sorbitol in prunes to support gentle overnight bowel movement so that the body can complete the process comfortably by morning without any harsh effect. Pecans work through bile support and polyphenols. But the final nut on this list takes a completely different approach. One that targets stool moisture directly, which is the one factor that makes the biggest difference when stool is already hard and slow to move. Number 4, pistachios. Pistachios are one of those nuts that support constipation relief in seniors, not by acting aggressively on the gut, but by gently reshaping how the digestive system functions over time. The real strength of pistachios lies in 2 specific areas that no other nut on this list covers in the same way. The first benefit of pistachios comes from their prebiotic fiber. Pistachios contain fibers and plant compounds that feed beneficial gut bacteria and encourage the production of short-chain fatty acids. These short-chain fatty acids play a direct role in maintaining the health of the colon lining. When the colon lining is well nourished, waste moves through with less resistance, which reduces the buildup that often leads to constipation. A controlled human study published in Current Developments in Nutrition in 2025 found that daily pistachio intake over several weeks led to measurable shifts in stool bacteria, increasing beneficial strains linked to gut balance. This microbial improvement matters because the gut microbiome plays a direct role in how smoothly food moves through the intestines and how well waste is formed and eliminated. The second benefit is how pistachios influence stool moisture directly. Unlike nuts that primarily add bulk, pistachios help increase the water content within the stool itself as it moves through the colon. When stool retains more moisture, it remains softer and easier to pass without straining. This is especially important for seniors because one of the most common complaints is not just infrequent bowel movement, but the difficulty and discomfort of passing hard, dry stool. By supporting stool hydration from within, pistachios address that specific problem in a way that feels gentle and natural rather than forced. It is also important to understand that pistachios work best when they are part of a broader digestive support routine rather than being treated as a standalone fix. The changes they create in the gut environment build gradually, and the effects become more noticeable over weeks rather than days. This slow progression is actually beneficial because it reduces the likelihood of digestive discomfort during adjustment. Many seniors expect immediate results from food changes. But with pistachios, the real benefit comes from consistency. When eaten daily in moderate amounts, they steadily shift the gut environment in a direction that supports easier, more regular bowel movement. They help create the internal conditions that allow the digestive tract to work as it is meant to, even as the body ages. For seniors who have been dealing with constipation for a long time, that kind of steady, dependable support is often exactly what is needed. Start your morning by mixing a small handful of shelled pistachios into warm oatmeal with diced apple, a sprinkle of ground flax seed, and a splash of low-fat milk. The prebiotic fiber from the pistachios works alongside the pectin in the apple to support colon lining health and stool moisture from the very first meal of the day. Eating this consistently over several weeks is where the real benefit builds. For lunch, add pistachios to a salad of mixed greens, sliced cucumber, cherry tomatoes, crumbled feta, and chickpeas with a lemon and olive oil dressing. This light midday meal keeps the gut bacteria fed and active, while the combination of pistachios and fiber-rich CH vegetables maintains stool moisture and supports smooth movement through the afternoon. End your day with a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt topped with pistachios, sliced banana, a sprinkle of flaxseed, and a drizzle of honey. The combination of prebiotic fiber from pistachios and the live cultures in yogurt creates a supportive overnight environment for colon health. By morning, the stool is more likely to be softer and easier to pass because the gut has had consistent nourishment through the day. Now that we've seen how nuts can help constipation and soften stool in people over 60, it is equally important to know that not every nut is useful for the digestive system. Some nuts can do you more harm than good. On top of that list is the cashew nut. Cashews are not true constipation-causing foods on their own, but they can contribute to sluggish bowel movement when they are not eaten in the right context or when the overall diet is already low in fiber and hydration. The first issue with cashews is that they are relatively low in fiber compared to many other nuts. A typical serving only provides a modest amount of fiber. And while that fiber helps form stool, it is not enough to drive strong intestinal movement in older adults who already have slower digestion. In seniors, this matters because bowel movement already tends to slow naturally with age. So foods with weak fiber support can feel like they are doing nothing for constipation when eaten alone. The second issue is that cashews are high in fat, and while those fats are generally healthy, they slow down how quickly the stomach empties food into the intestines. When digestion is already slow in older adults, this added delay can make stool remain longer in the colon. The longer stool sits there, the more water gets absorbed from it, making it harder and drier. This is often where the idea that cashews cause constipation comes from. Even though the real issue is delayed transit rather than blockage, when cashews are eaten in excess without enough fluids or other fiber-rich foods, their benefits get overshadowed by the slowing effect of fats and the overall imbalance in the diet. From a practical point of view, cashews are not something seniors need to avoid completely, but they are also not a strong tool for constipation relief. They work best as a small supporting snack within a diet that already has enough fiber and water. When they dominate the diet or replace more hydrating and fiber-rich foods, constipation can become more noticeable. So for adults over 60, the message is simple. Cashews are not the problem on their own. The problem is when they start replacing the nuts, your gut actually needs to stay active and regular. Number 2 is the peanut. Peanuts do not naturally cause constipation on their own. In fact, they contain both fiber and natural fats that can support bowel movement when eaten in balanced amounts. However, the first issue that makes peanuts problematic for seniors is their fermentable components. Peanuts contain fermentable compounds that are broken down by gut bacteria, and that fermentation process produces gas in the intestines. In older adults, excess gas creates pressure and bloating that disrupts the natural bowel rhythm. This sensation can feel like constipation even when stool is still technically moving, and it can lead to reduced appetite or avoidance of certain foods, which then indirectly affects regular bowel habits. When the gut is dealing with that kind of internal pressure consistently, the comfortable urge to have a bowel movement becomes irregular and unreliable. The second issue is that peanuts have a low moisture profile. They do not contribute any meaningful fluid content to stool formation. In digestion, stool consistency is influenced not only by fiber but also by available water within the intestinal tract. When dry foods make up a larger proportion of daily intake, the colon may absorb more water from waste material to compensate, which results in firmer, harder stool over time. In older adults who may not drink enough water consistently throughout the day, this effect becomes even more pronounced. Portion size also plays a role here. Peanuts are small and easy to eat in large amounts without noticing. And when intake becomes large, the digestive system receives a higher fat load with only moderate fiber support, which compounds the drying effect on stool. That reminds me of a patient of mine, John, 64, who came to me feeling heavy, bloated, and deeply uncomfortable. He was active and generally health conscious. He walked every morning and watched what he ate, but he hadn't had a comfortable bowel movement in 3 years without relying on harsh stimulants. He had tried increasing his water intake, adding more fruit to his meals, and even taking over-the-counter fiber supplements, but nothing created a lasting change. But his condition remained the same. After reviewing his full daily diet, the pattern became clear. His afternoon snack was almost always a large portion of salted peanuts, sometimes 2 or 3 handfuls, and his overall daily intake of fiber-rich snorts, fruits, and vegetables was low. The fermentable components in the peanuts were consistently producing gas and bloating that disrupted his bowel rhythm. And the low moisture profile of his overall diet was making his stool harder and drier than it should have been. His gut was not getting the right signals to move. Snorts. We removed the daily peanut habit entirely and replaced it with a small handful of pecans alongside a full glass of water each afternoon. We also added walnuts to his morning oatmeal and pistachios to his evening yogurt. Within 14 days, John reported his first natural complete bowel movement without stimulants. By the end of the first month, he was going regularly every morning without discomfort or straining. At the 2-month mark, the bloating had reduced significantly, and his energy through the morning had improved. He said, "I had no idea something that small was causing that much trouble." He was beyond relieved and excited. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 4 nuts do you already have in your pantry? And have you noticed them helping? Or are you realizing now that the peanuts might be the culprit? Let me know in the comments. If you're tired of guessing what actually works and just want something clear you can follow, this ebook is for you. It's called 100 Plus High Fiber Natural Laxative Recipes. This isn't just a list of random foods thrown together. It's a simple, practical guide designed to help your body work the way it should again, consistently, comfortably, and without the daily struggle. Inside, you're getting more than recipes. Every meal is built with purpose, using the right combination of fiber, hydration-rich ingredients, and natural compounds that actually support bowel movement, not just temporarily push things along. That means fewer frustrating days, less bloating, and a routine your body can rely on. The recipes are especially tailored for adults over 60, so they're easy to prepare, gentle on the stomach, and don't require complicated cooking or hard-to-find ingredients. You'll find the link in the description and pinned.